Hey everyone, Nick Engvall here. Before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you about some of the people that make the sneaker history community and this podcast possible. It's more important than ever to think about who you give your money to when you're buying clothing to go with your kicks. Our friends at Guilty Goods started their brand with a goal of giving back, especially to the communities that make sneaker culture possible. With every purchase from Guilty Goods, at least 10% of the proceeds are donated to organizations like Big Brothers and Big Sisters, the Susan G. Komen Foundation, the Movement for Black Lives, and many more. You can save 30% on your order by using the code HISTORY at guiltygoods.us. Again, that's history at guiltygoods.us for 30% off, and you can feel good about your purchase knowing you're supporting a meaningful cause. Sneakers are all about presentation, and if you're like me, displaying your kicks at home or in the office is just as important as when they're on your feet. Sneaker Throne makes sneaker display cases featuring customizable LED lights, drop-side cases to showcase the entire side of the shoe, not just the heel or the toe, the whole shoe. They've also got display cases for trading card collectors and hat collectors. To me, it's the perfect way to display your collection. You can save at least 10% on your Sneaker Throne order by using the code HISTORY at sneakerthrone.com. That's history at sneakerthrone.com. If you're a Patreon supporter or a member of our Discord community, you already know about Kicks with V hot sauce and his small batch, locally sourced hot sauce. V has been one of the biggest supporters of sneaker history and the podcast since the early days. He's currently the defending champion in our community trivia nights competition. Kicks with V hot sauce has been a huge hit with the community. You can save 10% on your order by using the code SneakerHistory10 at kickswithvhots.com. That's SneakerHistory10 at kickswithvhots.com. Now, you're probably here because you like sneakers, and if you join the Discord, you know our community is about so much more than that. Whether it's the marathon-like community calls, trivia night debates, the in-person meetups, or just sharing our favorite experiences, we found that although we have such different backgrounds, we all have some unexpected shared passions. Not only does the entire community look out for each other when it comes to releases, we're like a support group for life in general. You can join the Discord community for free by heading to the show notes of this episode. After you're done listening to this episode, tell someone you like their kicks today. You never know how far a simple compliment can take you, and we all know how good it feels to have someone show their appreciation. Now let's get into today's episode.
Jordan trying to shake off Starks. Oh, what a move! James with no regard for human life. Final seconds. Bryant for the win.
Iverson against Gill. The crowd on its feet. Allen for the win.
Welcome to the Sneaker History Podcast.
What up? What up? Welcome back to the Sneaker History Podcast. My name is Nick Engvall, and I'm with my guy, Mike Guillory. How's it going, Mike?
Man, it's going great. You know, another week, another day to talk about some shoes. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Got a new little love of my life puppy that's also terrorizing my life. So everything's a bit on edge in my house. But other than that, things are good. You just never really realize how much work goes into like a puppy, or I assume kids. I don't have any kids, but I assume it's the same kind of thing, right? So. You have it in the house with you.
Just hide your sneakers, man. Don't let her eat them.
Yeah, exactly. But so before we get into this episode, we're gonna kind of dive into All-Star Weekend. There was obviously tons of stuff to talk about, and Mike actually went up to Chicago to attend some events as well and check some things out. So before we do that, normally we would shout out a review. We didn't get any new reviews this week, so if you do have a moment, please head over to iTunes and drop us a review. Leave us some feedback. Really looking to try and grow the podcast and grow this community here. So if you could do that for us, it would be a huge help, and we would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's just get into what are you rocking, what are you copping this week?
Well, rocking, when I was, I just got back not too long ago from Chicago. I was wearing my Raptor 7s from 2012, super heavy up there. And then also my black metallic 5s, which was weird that I didn't see anyone wearing the 5s, even though everyone was trying to buy the off-white 5s, but that's a whole different story. But yeah that's what I wore those the whole time. I mean, just kind of felt like I had to since I was in Chicago. So why not? But what I'm copping right now, I guess it's kind of cheating because I already copped it, but I'm just waiting for it to come in the mail. I got lucky and was able to snagged my size in the LeBron 7 All-Stars, one of my all-time grails. And
Nice.
yeah, man, I'm super excited. They should be in the mail here, I think, by Thursday. And dude, I'm literally on edge. I just can't wait to get them in hand. How about you? What you been rocking? What you got? What you about to buy too?
So I apologize in advance to you personally because today I rock the Adidas Rose 1 Baylor Bears.
Oh,
edition.
I seen it.
No, I missed out. I actually was hoping to get those gray like rose with the roses on the inside, but they sold out on Adidas.com, and I just figured that was a sign that I didn't need to be spending the money. So
you should have called me.
Yeah, I didn't even. It was just one of those things where like when they were gone on the site, I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna chill. I'm gonna take this year off from buying sneakers on All-Star Weekend, and of course I missed out on plenty of other things over the weekend, but we'll get into. But yeah, and then as far as what I'm copping, I guess that would be one of them if it would have happened. But I think most importantly, I'm excited about like this New Balance Kawhi Leonard shoe. I'm a big fan of the Dame Lillard line, and this shoe obviously looks a lot like the Dame Lillard the two, right? So
No.
I feel like if it's anything like the other, like the Omnis one or whatever, I'm pretty excited for this. So I'm hoping to get my hands on it. I think this first colorway is super dope. Like all the different, materials and overlays and stuff just look like it's my kind of shoe. So that would be on my cop list. But
Yeah, it's dope. I just didn't realize that I didn't know the Omnis wasn't his signature shoe. I guess they never truly said it was his signature. They kind of pulled like a Kobe with the hyper dunk and then moved him over to his line.
yeah, I think nobody really knew, that there was another shoe in the works. I'm sure people did know, but they kept it pretty low key for sure. And the more I started seeing, the like other players in like PEs and stuff, I just started thinking, wait, this doesn't quite make sense for the Omni one or whatever to be his signature shoe. But I also think that like, it's one of those things where there's a long timeline. Like you said, the Kobe and the Hyperdunk is a great example where like, if that process starts, let's say, I don't remember when Kawhi signed with New Balance, but let's say it was, a year and a half ago, the process to go through a few months of design conversations and, background and storytelling aspects and all of those things would lead you into like, let's say like a 9 month to a year long, manufacturing sampling process. So it makes sense that, they would get something out really quickly with the first shoe, even though it's not 100%, his shoe. I would say that they probably had that in development before and then added some of his, touches to it to make it seem like it was, officially attached to Kawhi, which obviously with them, he's kind of their only guy in basketball, or was their only guy in basketball moving into that, or at least on a major scale. Obviously, I know they had a couple other guys like rookies and stuff that were younger guys that were signed, but like Kawhi was the big name. So
Yeah.
This one's much more intriguing to me. I think that, the launch on All-Star Weekend is always a good look. I didn't see any pricing on it. I didn't see any release dates, but I assume that it's going to be the same as the first shoe, where it's, probably limited in numbers and pretty hard to get. And so I'll just prepare to be disappointed in a month or two.
Well, they said the first run is going to be in spring of 2020, and it's going to be very limited, but it's going to be a GR in the fall.
Okay.
So apparently they're preparing to do a wider release as opposed to what they've done with the Omnis, which I actually, after seeing it and hearing like great thing about how it plays, I really do want to pair the Omnis, but they're harder to get than the Jordan Retro.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing about I think the Omnis or Omni One, whatever it's called, is that it's typically like I've seen them in stores. So Foot Locker had them here, and you can usually get like the new colorways on NewBalance.com, but New Balance is not a site that most of us are checking on a regular basis. So
Yeah. See, I always forget you can just go there. I always expect I should go like the Foot Locker or something because I don't know if it's regional since he is in California that they have more of a stock in store, but I've never seen a single pair of them in person. Actually, it's really weird.
yeah, I mean, they're out there. But I would love to know if anybody picked them up and what they think of them. Obviously, I've seen plenty of reviews on YouTube and stuff like that and seen people on social with them, but we'd love to hear from our listeners. Let us know if you picked up any of the New Balance basketball shoes and what you think of them, and love to have your feedback. So, but Mike, why don't you tell us about your experience in Chicago?
Yeah, man. So this was my first time actually attending All-Star Weekend. I mean, it's been in Houston before, but then I pretty much tried to avoid it because there's already too many people in Houston, and then they just added a gang more of them. So really never did anything with it. But this time I was actually invited out by the guys over at Wear Testers to do their first annual sneaker media pickup game. So it was really cool. Chicago is the coldest place on earth. I left Texas at 70 degrees and I got off a plane. It said 9, but my phone said it felt like 3. So it definitely wakes you up once you hit that air. But oh man, super cool. I didn't go and have anything planned besides meeting up with the guy, Drew and the guys at Wear Testers, and it was cool just to when I got there Friday night. I woke up pretty early on Saturday just so I can get out on the streets and kind of see what was going on. First stop, of course, had to go to their flagship store out there. Super cool. A lot of it was, people pick up their reservations for, the Off-White Jordan 5s, people in line for the New Beginnings pack, which if I really wanted to spend the $350, I think I could have got them because once I got down to the store, there was only... It was, I guess, probably about 8 o'clock when I got down there, 9 o'clock. There's probably only 10 people in line for them. By the time, the store was opening, a line wrapped around the building, but it was definitely cool to see. They actually had it really organized. I heard different things about the Jordan specific kind of pop-up they did that was really like kind of a mess, but this Nike did it very well where they had the store split up into 3 spaces. You had the reservation to go pick up your Off-Whites, which is in one part. You had the actual Nike store itself opened at 10 o'clock to the public. They can get in and out, still do a normal thing. They weren't pushed to the side, for the releases. And then you had another spot for just All-Star related releases. So anything that was hype that they had like a raffle or lineup for was set to another part of the store that didn't interfere with the normal crowd going in and out, which was really cool. And I guess when you have that big of a space, you can do that. So it was really awesome to see that. Just like any other sneakerhead, what you do when you go to those places, you look down at feet. And it was crazy. You would think there would be more classic Jordans on people's feet out there just because it is Chicago. This is the first time it's been there since '88. You would think you'd be seeing a lot more like Jordan 3, like black cements, things like that. But it was crazy. It was filled with Travis Scotts and Off-Whites everywhere, man. It was nuts. But
so you didn't happen to chase down the Yeezy tanks, huh?
No. So okay, I got there Friday night, and apparently I think I saw a video while I was sitting in the airport Friday night. It happened Friday morning. It was crazy to look at the video. It was just so nuts to me that people were like trying to give away their shoes to barter for the free shoe. From what I understand, they were just giving them out. And I know, how they're probably just picking and choosing and giving them to. But people, grown men, were out there begging like it was food on the back of the truck and they'd never eaten. They hadn't eaten in 3 weeks. Like it was, the videos were nuts. They tried it again on Saturday from what I saw. But because people expected it this time, it got too out of hand. So they just went ahead and just shut that down. And during the dunk contest, there was actually a surprise Adidas reservation pop up. And I mean, no surprise I didn't hit on it, but yeah, they actually did a surprise Adidas reservation for people to come into the Chicago area to reserve them and pick them up at the original store that Sunday before the All-Star game, and then Kanye had a Sunday service there as well.
It's crazy, man. I mean, I think there's just, I just wonder where we go from here, right? Like, I mean, the visual of those, you know, I forget what they're called, but those like tank things was super dope. It was cool to see. You know, I thought it was kind of weird that like the dudes are like trading in their off-whites for the shoes and stuff. But I mean, not off-whites, the Fear of God.
Yeah.
But you know, it's definitely creative, and I think that, you know, the thing that I admire about Adidas and Kanye and the way they approached this weekend was like, it was like nonstop, right? And I'm sure that like that was the same for all the brands. Everybody's trying to do stuff everywhere to, you know, get you in the door of wherever they were at. But I feel like Adidas kind of went a little next level because they had a variety of different things going on. And I know that, like, you know, obviously all the brands had different things going on, but like those particularly stood out compared to like the pop-up locations and stuff that I saw on social media.
Yeah, like Adidas made it accessible. I mean, of course, they had their events where they were more invitation only, of course. Everyone does during All-Star Weekend, but Adidas made it accessible because I went to the Adidas store in I guess I don't know the exact name, but it's like, I think they call it the Tower. It's like a 7-8 story mall in downtown. It's just a small mall. It's like probably 3-4 stores a level. But it was really cool. Their Adidas store has a whole D-Rose set up in it. And it was really awesome because you walk in, and this is where I found both pairs of D-Roses. Literally, if you would have called me, I could have got it for you. In the middle of the store, in the basketball section, you have the Dame Pusha T set up one side. It's like really cool. It's like a whole like mini like stage set up with the speakers and like turntables and stuff with the Dame Pusha T shoe in the center. But then you also have this D-Rose setup, which was really amazing, simple and amazing. It's a basketball goal, almost up in like a garden, with of course roses in the and it starts with 1 all the way through 10, each of the shoes on there circled up, and it's super cool. It was just nice that they actually they did those like little installations for both those players in there, and it was something that everyone could go in and see. It's really cool, simple. Adidas made all the shoes were available. I mean, I know people are like, oh, well, no one wanted the D-Roses, but those things sold out online. I looked at StockX not StockX, but Goat for fun. They were selling D-Roses for $250 for each pair, both the Simeon and the concrete pair. Insane. But it was cool, man. And then going to the game, meeting with some different people over at the basketball game with Wear Testers, and the guys at Wear Testers were able to connect with Puma and the good folks over at Puma Hoops actually provided us all who played in the game with a pair of the new collaboration they did with J. Cole and Dreamville.
Nice.
They're Puma Sky Dreamers, which is super awesome. They're kind of a nod to their old high top basketball shoes, and dude, they're super, super cool, super comfortable to play in. And I'll put a video, try to put all my experiences into a visual so you guys can kind of see my ramblings. But yeah, man, overall, it was a super awesome trip. Got to sit with Drew and a couple of the guys from Wear Testers. We watched a dunk contest at a restaurant. Super nice guys. I mean, I know anybody listening here is familiar with the guys over at Wear Testers. So shout out to them for the invite. And next year, we're making sure that I'm dragging Nick and Robbie with me. That way we can all get out there.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have made it. It just was not happening this year. So
yeah,
it's super dope though. Like, I mean, I think I love seeing like these kind of smaller things like the Wear Testers stuff going on. Where I saw they ended up giving away some of the extra pairs with Puma to people that could come by afterwards or whatever, or maybe the next day. And I mean, it's just. I think that to me is like the more, kind of grassroots stuff is so much more, important, to kind of the future of all this stuff. Cause I mean, I admire the marketing stuff because I know like that's the world that I play in, but to see some of the stuff like that with wear testers. If you guys are familiar with Nick DiPaola from ESPN, who I've done some stuff with over the years, I worked with him as Soul Collector for a number of years, and he had a great post about my friend Brandon Walker on his Instagram, and just talking about the Adidas Legacy Career Day that they did for 240 student athletes from 8 teams around Chicago, and they brought out D Rose, and they brought out just a whole host of people, so to see that and to, kind of see the more grassroots stuff coming to fruition to me is like, just like amazing stuff. I love the idea of, getting kids excited about the future of this stuff, because that's the stuff that's going to carry this whole thing and move this whole thing forward. As much as like, I think everybody loves to have these experiences and, go to Chicago or go to All-Star and whatever, whatnot, at the end of the day, like I want to see the next generation given the opportunities to experience these things. And so. Yeah.
And I would say anybody who ever goes out there, of course, you want to find yourself in events, but a lot of times it's probably easier said than done. Almost go out there without a plan, in a sense of just open yourself up to explore things. Because, I mean, I just walked around a lot until the event, the basketball game with wear testers. I just walked around a lot, just kind of explored and found myself in some different places, like at the Nike store. I got to play with the Adapt BB 2.0s, which is really cool. I mean, I just kind of stumbled into it. I was talking to one of the guys in there. He's, they had a section you could try them on, play with the little app while it's on your feet. So don't hinder yourself like, oh, I have to go to this event. I have to try to get in this Jordan warehouse. That's cool. But just know that there are going to be crowds. There's going to be a lot of craziness going on. But if you just kind of go, just kind of open your mind to all experiences, not just, oh, I have to go to these big brands. I know there was a smaller like New Balance deal with Joe Freshgoods. You could have gotten to, I think, Thursday or Friday. That from the clips I've seen, it wasn't an overwhelming amount of people, but it looked like it was enough to enjoy it. There was just a lot of stuff out there. I think that people could have found themselves to enjoy without having to go to like the IT events. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you been to Chicago much before?
No, that was actually the second time. Me and my wife went about 2 years ago. So that was my second time going. So I just kind of, only thing I knew this time was how to dress.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of my favorite cities. I think like what I love about Chicago is even though it's a massive city, there's such a community feel to so much that goes on there. And that could be anything from, the local stores to, the guys like Modern Notoriety doing local events there. Just in general, it's like a whole lot of like, just, I don't know, it just feels small town still. I can understand the whole Sweet Home Chicago conversation. Yes.
Yeah, man. I can see where you're coming from. I mean, I was on foot the whole time, which was cool. I mean, I stayed in my kind of pod because I didn't want to stray too far and get caught up in those really expensive Uber rides. But I mean, I walked everywhere. I was able to grab bites to eat. Just, restaurants were pretty easy to get in and out of just on foot. Like it's crazy. You're right. It has a small town feel, even though it's just a humongous city.
Yeah. And, it's kind of crazy too, to hear, like you said, with the D Rose event and stuff like that, where, and seeing him at that Adidas Legacy thing that my friend Brandon was a big part of putting on, that solidifies the whole vibe of Chicago to me, like supporting those like homegrown kind of, like people events. And I think like the Bulls too, like there's obviously like a ton of legacy with MJ and in that era, but yeah, it's just fascinating to me.
Yeah, man, it was a good one. It was a very good one to experience as my first one.
So what were your favorite like releases over the weekend, or what were some of the things you tried to get or wish you would have got, other than, I know you got the LeBron 7s. Anything else stood out?
You know what? I kind of wish I didn't buy them because of packing reasons. Cause I was only there for about 36 hours. So I didn't want to overpack or, have to pay for extra, baggage. So I wish I kind of would have bought the Simeon D Roses, which I'm thinking I have a hunch I can get my hands on a couple other places. Of course, I tried for off-white 5s, but between me, you, Nick, and then everyone listening, I probably wasn't going to keep them if I got them. It was just one of those I wanted to see if I can get it. But one that I really liked that surprisingly sold out over there was the Monstar LeBron 17. It actually sold out at the Nike store there and all the other like stores that were open. Like looking at it, like seeing pictures of it, and it's actually a really cool shoe. I liked it. I mean, I was always a Space Jam fan as a kid, and there was actually like just a different take than a traditional, Jordan 11 Space Jam or that white and black Jordan 9. It was really cool to see. And probably the only other one I kind of halfway regret buying. I don't wear all red shoes typically, or predominantly red shoes. It's just like me and brown shoes. I don't know why. I just don't wear them that much. But I had the Jordan 3, I guess red cement or Unite. They actually, with the shine on the back, was sitting in the Nike stores.
That's pretty crazy. I wonder how many pairs of those were made.
I think a lot. And you can still now, if you just want the normal Nike Air in the back, they're still sitting most full size runs in a lot of places.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I was actually impressed that like a lot of that, a lot of the Adidas, like Chicago, I forget what they called the whole pack, but kind of their whole all-star pack, right? Had like other than like the Pro Model 2G, like both the sets of Superstars seem to have sold out on their site. The top 10s were the ones that I liked, the orange and black, and my size was gone on those pretty quickly. I thought it was like kind of cool that a lot of that stuff from the local Chicago artists seemed to sell pretty well. So, a lot of times with stuff like that, it's hard to know if it's going to resonate with people. And I think that's a testament to, Chicago sneaker heads coming out and supporting those like, companies and artists and creatives that are there getting to collaborate with Adidas. Cause it's, I think an important, piece of like, the game, so to speak, right? Where people say they want to support things or say, and it's not, I don't mean this to be disrespectful to people, but it's like, the comments of my guy or, fam or whatever. And, a lot of times that's not backed up with, buying things from the people that you want to support. So I think it's cool to see that, Adidas took a chance on some of those local artists that, not that other brands didn't, but, there's a lot of famous artists, I will say, that are already partnered with Nike and Jordan Brand, right? And, you look at like somebody like Don C, who obviously reps Chicago all the time, getting the opportunity to create shoes for Chicago is super dope. But at the same time, like you almost know that that's a winning formula, right? You've already seen that can work. And so it's cool that there's a little bit of a kind of take a chance on the smaller guys, smaller creatives. At least it appears that way from a distance,
Yeah, and I'd say that pink Superstar, the pink suede one that says like 3 stripes on the side, is amazing in person.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's a women's shoe, but man, I would lie to you if I didn't tell you I thought about buying it in men's size. That is a dope looking shoe in person.
That's good to hear. I mean, I think that's the other thing too, is like the more of these shoes that come out that are actually, well made and, quality materials, the better off it is for everybody, right? Because I think the challenge for a lot of these brands right now is, it's tough because you're taking away profits if you're using, you're using better materials and you kind of, up the cost of goods. But at the end of the day, like if that's people's first experience into your brand or wearing a shoe or wearing product from your brand, then you want that to be the best possible way. And the energy around All-Star Weekend is always really important. So it was cool to see that, even just like the Joe Fresh Good stuff with New Balance. I just thought there was a lot of like, the J. Cole stuff we mentioned with Puma. There was a lot of like cool stuff going on from all the brands. And to me, like that's the thing that's exciting. It's like everybody's trying to do stuff. All the brands are out here putting in work, and it just benefits all of us as consumers more and more, the more competitive everybody is and the more people are trying to do cool stuff. So.
Yeah. And I feel like even though like the Yeezy was supposed to be the most limited of the group, I almost feel like they gave you a better chance to get that Yeezy basketball than getting either of those Jordan 1, flight suit or reverse bread, whatever we're calling it, or the New Beginnings pack. It's crazy. I mean, clearly the Yeezy basketball may still have had more limited numbers, but it looked like I saw people with more success through the Twitterverse and Instagram getting a hold of that shoe as opposed to everyone that was chasing the Jordans, which is nuts to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know. I think this year was really interesting because, the perception of like the Off-Whites dropping in Chicago, the Airship Jordan 1 PE pack, and the Yeezy basketball shoes. It's hard to not be salty because obviously you want, the sneaker thing is a tough pill to swallow for a lot of us, right? Because if participating in sneakers means buying the things that you want to buy, then everybody's disappointed when they can't buy that. Or when you go online and you see other people getting it or whatever, we're just programmed that way, right? And Jacques and I were kind of going back and forth with Nick from I want to say it's Wrecking Ball Coffee in San Francisco, but like three of us had a pretty good conversation going about this a couple days ago on Twitter. If you want to check it out, it's I'm sure you can find it. But I think that the interesting thing about it for me is like as much like, yes, I get upset that I don't get something off of sneakers. I would have loved to have a pair of those Yeezy basketball shoes, but if it's not in the cards for me, it's not in the cards. Like I'm not going to let it bring me down. I'm not going to take it out on somebody else. And, props to people that are out there getting the opportunities, whether that's through relationships that they've fostered to, be able to be in the position to get the products, or through just like luck of the draw, enjoy it. And hopefully it continues to be a successful thing for you. But I also think that on the flip side of that, like we're in this time where we're going to shift to a lot of this, where you're going to see a lot less product released online. You're going to see a lot of this, like, okay, here's the Chicago version that released in Chicago. Here's the, kind of general release. Even if it's limited, it's released to the masses through the website. And I think that trend is only going to get bigger because people want their products that we're all thinking more about the products we buy, right? Because there's so many more good shoes coming out. Like there are literally, dozens of shoes that I would love to have purchased this year already. And, I would say that 90% of them I've just missed out on because they sold out or my size was gone or whatever. And I think that as more and more cool stuff is produced, like the more our selectiveness becomes a deciding factor. So if you went to Chicago and you bought a pair of shoes, that shoe is way more important to you as an individual than just getting something off of, the internet. Now, I get that people can argue, maybe the Off-White 5 is worth $1,000 or what. I don't know what the resale is on them. I haven't looked, but like,
oh, you're pretty close. Don't worry.
Assume that it's $1,000 for a $250 shoe. That's kind of average for like hot Off-White stuff. Okay, great. Like $750. That's that's great. If you want to resell stuff and you make $750, more power to you. As an individual, if you spent that $750 on a weekend of experiences in Chicago, it wouldn't matter what shoes you went home with, but those memories are going to be well more, much more valuable to you than the $750 you would have made off of an Off-White,
Yo, you took the words right out of my mouth when you said that, man. That's literally what I was thinking, is because I may not have picked up like the hype releases, but I was able to like order one of my girls, and then I also made connections with a lot of new people that I had, maybe spoken to once or twice on Instagram or Twitter, but I was able to connect with them, and I wouldn't trade that for, a pair of like Off-Whites that, like, I made maybe what we can consider lifelong connections with the guys at Wear Testers, and then some other, other media guys out there that were really cool to meet that I never would have done before. So I agree with you 110%. And I think people should evaluate that and not, like that's what I said, if you go, just go for this thing, because don't have your time be eaten up by standing in line for release or, kicking yourself because you caught an L. Like, yes, we all love sneakers, but I mean, there's going to be another one. There's always another one.
Yeah, most definitely. And, I think that, I don't want to say I regret not going to Chicago, because like I had some other stuff that was more important to me than this weekend, than being in Chicago this weekend rather. But I do think that, thinking about, Chicago compared to, let's say, I think what is it Cleveland is next year, or
Indianapolis, then Cleveland? I think.
Indianapolis and then Cleveland, and nothing against those places, but like there's so much more history and there's so much more passion that comes from Chicago in terms of the sneaker world. Like it's both like, the Michael Jordan era Bulls, the Kanye, era of like Virgil and Don C, D Rose on top of that. Like, I mean, it's just a wild amount of roots there in Chicago. So, but so I guess like the, I don't know, I don't want to call it the hot topic, but I will say that it was probably the most, maybe the most hated topic of the weekend was the dunk contest. Well, before I get into it, what'd you think?
Man, look, D-Wade, I love D-Wade as a player, but you can never judge a dunk contest again, especially when there's Miami Heat players in there. You are out of here, sir. But it was a good dunk contest. I feel like it's really hard to even look at dunk contests after, you had the Vince Carter dunk contest. You had the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine dunk contest. It's really hard to measure up to those. But, I mean, having Dwight Howard back, who I think he got his first dunk it was very underrated, underscored. It was a decent dunk contest. Not my favorite, but it was definitely watchable until the end.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I thought the dunk contest itself, was great. It's a little disappointing, to only see 4 guys, right? Like,
Yeah.
Knowing how many guys in the league have, a crazy amount of skill. And I know that all of that doesn't necessarily transfer to like winning a dunk contest, but getting more people out there gets people a chance to root for their home team. Like I being a Kings fan, I'm just stoked that Buddy Hield won the 3-point contest. Like that's something that is like super amazing to me, especially on a year where, the Kings aren't playing anywhere near as well as I think most of the fans would have hoped for them to play. So that part of it is a little disappointing to me. I thought like the dunks, the Pat coming out in all the like white man can't jump stuff was amazing.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Bringing Christian Yelich from the Brewers out, like that was all really dope. I really like the Zoom Freak one, EYBL eyeball. That colorway is kind of bananas on that shoe. So I don't know if everybody caught that shoe, but I think that if taking away the actual dunks, I would just love to see more people involved in it. And I thought that the All-Star game format was great this year, and it made it really competitive, and everybody enjoyed it. But the dunk contest, being that there's just the 4 guys, it was a little like it just left a little something to be desired for me. And there was a lot of cool little stories around the dunk contest, right? So I think, first off, Aaron Gordon, in my opinion, is one of the best dunkers of all time. It's unfortunate that he doesn't have, a win to kind of solidify that. But he was wearing he was wearing his 361 degrees Big 3 California sunset, which, came out that he signed a deal with them announced his deal with them over the weekend. Obviously Dwight being in the dunk contest again. I mean, I feel like Dwight is always he's kind of at a disadvantage because he's such a big dude that it just doesn't look as cool as the other guys. And I was talking to my buddy Mitch Jacobs about this. Like, it's almost like if you look at Kevin Durant, right? Like, go look at highlights for Kevin Durant on like All-Star games, or even just his regular season stuff, playoff stuff. Because he's so lanky and long and tall, he doesn't look as, like, and maybe this is just me, kind of, bringing the nostalgia into it, but he doesn't look as like artistic as like Michael Jordan did, right? So Dwight, I feel, is the same way. He's such a big dude that he doesn't. It almost all looks too easy for him. So it takes away from I think everybody's kind of thoughts around him. But I will say that like I saw that he had 6-figure deals on the table for a sneaker deal for All-Star weekend and turned them all down because he wanted to wear Kobe's in honor of Kobe for the dunk contest, which that was super dope. Props to Dwight for that. And then last but not least, Derek Jones Jr. Wore some Puma Clyde hardwoods to go with his Miami jersey or uniform. And turns out that he announced a deal with Puma just today or yesterday. I can't remember when I saw that, but and winning the dunk contest obviously helps with that. But I'm sure he was in the conversation, well before that. He probably was, loosely under contract before.
Like that day.
Loosely under contract before. That's why he's wearing the shoes. But it was dope to see that. I mean, it was crazy too, like how many times he did like a, through the legs dunk, but that's that's a whole nother topic. So
that's another. But will say it was cool that one of the guys I saw on Twitter that I guess found Drew and was able to pick up a pair of the Pumas. Apparently, after he picked up the Pumas, he ran into Derrick Jones Jr. and he signed them for him.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah,
I was like, yeah, you can ask for anything better. That was like great timing.
Yep. Yeah, man. So I don't know. You got anything else? Anything else we need to talk about All-Star? I feel like we got most of it.
Yeah, I think we got most of it. I did see J. Cole wearing a new Puma basketball silhouette. It looks very similar to an RSX, which is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, that's super dope. I love the look of that shoe.
Yeah, it looks clean, man.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that's a quick to release, but yeah, other than that, I mean, Chris Paul blew both his knees out trying to do a two-handed dunk. I mean, I hope he's okay. But yeah, man, I think that this was probably one of the better All-Star games. It's sad to see the dunk contest kind of losing favor. I mean, the rookie or Rising Star game has been awesome. The skills contest is cool to watch. The three-point contest, I think, is better than the dunk contest now. And then they added that further shot out. And then this format of the All-Star game puts some more things at stake to make them play a little harder each quarter. So I don't know. I mean, still there's no real defense, of course, but I don't know. I think overall I like what they've done to it, and of course they named the MVP trophy after Kobe Bryant. So I mean, I have no complaints about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's kind of like the icing on the cake, and a good point to wrap up with, right? Like, I think we're all still, in shock and missing Kobe Bryant even more, just because, even without him in the All-Star game, his presence is always felt at the All-Star game. It's kind of like MJ. I think both of them. Very much are just like All-Star is more about the history of the league and the greats that came before than any other moment. So it's really cool to see Adam Silver in the league kind of acknowledging Kobe's legacy with that. And yeah, man. Well, let us know what we missed. If there's anything that you saw this weekend worth talking about. There was obviously a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of interesting shoes being worn, and yeah, I mean, it's just All-Star Weekend. I think, like as a sneaker guy, or sneaker persons, we all just kind of live for this weekend. I mean, it's like where do we go from here? There's going to be some slow time for the next couple of months, in a sense, and hopefully we get back into a good rhythm of cool releases and stuff like that. So this is just so much going on that it's almost overwhelming, but in a good way, right? So. Oh
yeah, it's always good to have a lot of different releases. I mean, I personally think the All-Star releases have kind of gone down ever since the 2012. Of course, I feel like is the pinnacle in my eyes. 2013 wasn't bad with the Area 72 release, but I just feel like overall, I feel like that we've gotten kind of watered down releases. And I think I might have been watching Jock on one of his videos, and he said it best. It seems like they're more focused on the events that they're trying to put on more than releases. So I kind of hope they balance it out soon, that we start getting some, more of those theme releases or just some cooler releases overall, because it's not that they're getting lazy. I don't want to say that at all, because they put a lot of thought into each thing they release. But I feel like just some of that, that cool storytelling that goes along with the shoe that just put a little bit more lure to them it's been missing the last few years. And I mean, it's cool. I think just kind of circling back, I think Kanye put that excitement back into, how he released the shoe. So it gives someone like, hey, I got this shoe. I followed these crazy Batman-looking tanks through town and got a free shoe from Kanye. Like, whoever got this can have a cool story to tell if they didn't, not just doing it to resell it, as opposed to, I stood in line in the cold and I got this shoe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. And, I think that's a great point. I think to me, it's always about the story, our individual stories and our collective stories that we share with each other. So I think, All-Star Weekend and what all these brands did was give people the chance to create memories that are going to outlast any of the shoes that they picked up. And that's super dope. And hopefully anybody that went up there, if you went up there, we would love to hear, what your experience was about. And, you could DM us or tweet us or leave a comment on Instagram, wherever you want to connect with us. But at Sneaker History on all the platforms.
Sure.
Yeah, my name is Nick Engvall. You can follow me at Nick Engvall on all the platforms. Mike, let them know how they can find you.
Yep, Mike Guillory. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter at MadWatcher789, of course, of Sneaker History, and on course on YouTube at Mike Guillory. So let us know what you think about the show. We love you guys for listening. Listen to us ramble about sneakers twice a week. So thank you so much for being with us, being a part of the Sneaker History family.
Yeah, we appreciate you all, and we will catch you next time. Peace.
See ya.
Hey everyone, this is Nick again. Before you take off, I wanted to ask a couple favors of you. If you're interested in more content from the Sneaker History crew, become a member of our Patreon page where we post daily content, drop exclusive episodes, and host monthly giveaways. We'll even help you hunt for your grails. Check us out at patreon.com/sneakerhistory. Also, make sure you sign up for our email newsletter at sneakerhistory.com/email. We send out weekly updates on the footwear business and what we're working on here at Sneaker History. Last but not least, take a second to tell someone you like their kicks today. You never know how much it means to someone, and it might even plant the seeds for something even bigger. As always, we appreciate you, and we'll catch you next time. Peace. Hey everyone, this is Nick again. Before you take off, do us a solid and head over to Apple Podcasts to leave us a review. Give us a rating on Spotify and Amazon Music, and make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel because we have even more video content coming soon. Speaking of new content, we have an amazing community of sneaker enthusiasts that hang out in our Sneaker History Discord on a daily basis. While sneakers is a connection point that brought us all together, we've all discovered countless shared passions that we have in common with each other. We recently launched a couple of new podcasts directly from our community. One of them is a Formula One podcast. If you're an F1 fan like me, the Exhaust Notes podcast is your weekly fix of Formula One fun. It's hosted by myself, Rohit Malhotra, and Todd Yates. New episodes drop every Tuesday. I've been wearing fitted hats for years and collecting my favorite teams since I was a little leaguer. It has been awesome to see so many new fans getting into fitteds in recent years. Crown and Stitch is our new talk show about fitted hats with Dexter, Keith, and myself, where we talk about fitted hats, snapbacks, throw in some obscure hats because we all kind of like some funky stuff once in a while, don't we? Copping, collecting, and so much more. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Hit the links in the show notes for this episode to give our new shows a listen, and be on the lookout for more new podcasts dropping soon. Last but not least, tell someone you like their kicks today. You never know how far a simple compliment can take you, and we all know how good it feels to have someone show their appreciation. Thank you all for the support, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.